Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Morning Huddle for Friday, January 7th of 2022. Happy New Year to everybody. Please excuse me, I have a bit of a head cold, so if I struggle a little bit, please keep that in mind. And I just want to make sure that everybody is staying safe. These huddles are about coming together, sticking together, and making sure that we're connected to the resources that you need so that we can weather any variant that comes our way, whether it's Omicron or the next one, because we know that the challenges are not going to stop. So we need to always work together, and these huddles are all about that community and that sense of belonging, that we're all in this as one team, right? And we need to help each other out and connect you to the leaders that can make things happen in your small business. So today, I'm very proud to introduce our featured guest who's going to be sharing some of those resources that are available for small business owners. He is Dr. Jack Donith. He is the Senior Vice President of Research and Strategic Planning at the Miami-Dade Beacon Council, Miami-Dade County's official economic development organization, and he has been with that organization since 1997. His day-to-day responsibilities include research on the regional business community, international business and trade, labor statistics, demographics, and economic impact analysis. He has also been involved in the research for One Community, One Goal, the economic strategic plan for Miami-Dade County. He is also the point person for Opportunity Zones and is participant in the Rockefeller Foundation Opportunity Zone Academy. Dr. Donith participates on behalf of the organization in Miami-Dade County, South Florida's resiliency efforts, and is a member of the South Florida Anchor Alliance for Supplier Diversity and Workforce. Prior to his position at the Beacon Council, Dr. Donith was Business Development Coordinator at the City of North Miami. He is also an adjunct professor at Barry University's International Business and Business Consulting in the MBA program and taught research and inquiry in the MBA program at Johnson & Wales University. He also taught at Florida Atlantic University, Florida International University, and St. Thomas University. Dr. Donith is a native of the Netherlands, received a PhD in International Business and International Relations from the University of Miami. He received an MA in International Relations from the same institution and a BA in Education for History and Dutch Language in the Netherlands. He has been a speaker at national and international economic development and business conferences. He has published 26 articles internationally, book reviews, op-ed articles, and lectured and presented papers at conferences in the Netherlands, Sweden, and the United States. In addition, he has been interviewed by national, regional, and local media, including Time Magazine, Bloomberg News, Florida Trend, and the Miami Herald. It is a great pleasure to welcome Dr. Jack Donith to the Morning Huddle. Let's give him a big round of applause. My friend, welcome, and thank you for spending this time with us.
Absolutely. Happy to be here, and good morning, everyone. Some of you I have met before, and I've worked with some of you over the years. Michael, with his program, and others. Welcome, Vanessa, to Miami Beach Economic Development. We'll be working with you as well. And I think that's probably one of the things that I want to get across, and Danilo already mentioned, is the collaboration as a community, especially as we try to grow our businesses, and it's all levels. So in the case of Beacon Council, a lot of work what we do is focus on marketing Miami as a place to business, helping companies to come here, and we had a very successful year last year, as well as helping companies grow here. And that's small businesses. A colleague of mine, I hope she'll be able to hop on today. If not, I'll make sure that she speaks to you another opportunity. But we're trying to figure out, how do we grow our economy and how do we grow business opportunities for our companies and therefore job creation. Our role as an organization is helping companies grow and create jobs, good paying jobs, so we all benefit. And the idea behind all of it is, the way I explain it is, how do we create a larger pie for all of us? If we're successful in bringing a company here, growing a company here, those companies create jobs, those people have disposable income, they'll go out and ask for your service, your products that you offer as a business. And so that's why it's so important for us to keep looking at, how do we grow our economy? What can we do to promote Miami and have a environment where individuals and companies can be successful? And that's one of the reasons why we exist. We've been in place for about 36 years now, 37 years. I've been there for a while now. I told you how long. And so it's important for us to make sure that we're part of the community and provide resources for those companies. One of the resources I want to show you today is something that you can use in your own business as you start looking at what's going to be next for my business. How do I want to expand? What can I expect from the local region as a marketplace? And so that's what I want to spend a couple of minutes on. I'm going to go through the website that you have access to. I'll explain the website in a second, but please stop me for any questions, something that's not clear. If I just ramble, which is very possible, please stop me, because I want to make sure that you are able to use this platform on your own, spend some time on it, and hopefully that will guide you in your thinking of how do I grow my business? Where are the opportunities? What do I need to know in order to be successful? So I'm going to share my screen.
Do you want me to make you co-host?
Yeah, please.
All right, you got it.
Am I?
Yes, you should be now.
Okay. So what you should be seeing here is a website called Miami-Dade I'll put it in the chat in a minute or after at one point, so you have it, but it's Miami-Dade This is a project that we did together with the county. So this is Beacon Council and Miami-Dade County that put this together for two reasons. The main reason is what you see here is the real estate side. That's how we started this platform. So this is a platform that we subscribe to, rent, whatever you want to call it, and have been for several years now, probably 6-7 years. So this is not something we created. There's a package, but we created a customized version with a lot of things that other communities might not have together with the county. So a lot of maps that you see came from the county. So there's a partnership between us and Miami-Dade County. And the original intent was, how do we show people outside Miami-Dade County, South Florida, what properties are available? And so that's why you see this piece. But it also has a huge amount of data, and that's what I'm going to focus on today. I mean, you can use this if you're looking at other places that you want to expand physically. This might be a good starting point to get a sense what is out there, and then you need to talk to a broker, of course, and they'll help you with the actual search. But the piece that I think is very helpful for small business is the explore communities. There's some other pieces to it as well, and again, I encourage you to spend some time on it. It's pretty self-explanatory to use. There's a couple of tricks that I can show you, but a lot of it is very easy to access and to use. So this is the property search. I'll leave that be. And I'm going to
before you go to explore communities, I had a quick question. So
Sure.
If you're looking for commercial space, if you're looking for office space, this is a tool that could work for that, right?
Yeah, this is a good starting point. It's not perfect with everything. What we have done, again, another partnership, the Miami-Dade Realtors Association, which is the overarching organization for both commercial and residential real estate, they feed in their MLS for commercial properties. And so this is updated. When the MLS is updated, this data set is updated automatically. So this should be close to in real time as you can find. Again, you need to talk to a broker eventually, because there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, as the two young ladies who just signed the lease today have experienced. But again, it's a good starting point to get a sense of what is the cost of office space or a small warehouse space, where can I find it, where it's available, you name it. So again, it's a good way to get a good initial search done. And again, I strongly encourage you to work with a commercial broker, the same way you would most likely as you would look for a house.
Fantastic. And I just want to remind everybody that this is a conversation. If you have any questions for Yap, please feel free to raise your hand. I'll pass you the mic. Please continue, Yap. Thank you.
And again, this is a public site. Unlike a lot of things that we use and that other community organizations use, this is open to anyone. So this is for you to use. And again, that's why we put it together with the county and using the provider called GIS Planning, so that people outside our area can understand what we look like as a community when they look at Miami as a place to do business and hopefully bring jobs here. The majority of what I show you is focused on Miami-Dade County, but we have a breakdown of geographies by city, the whole county, or by commission district, which might or might not be overlapping what you're looking for. So there are a couple of ways to look at the geography. There's another way to do, and I'll show you at the end, to do a customized either a circle or you draw it yourself, but I'll show you that at the end once you have a good sense of what to expect with the data. So let's go for a city. Anyone wants to tell me what city they're in, what city they're working in, then we can look at some data.
Miami Beach.
What's up, Vanessa?
Hello, Jack.
Miami Beach?
Yes, I mean, that's okay.
Is there anything happening in Miami Beach?
Good or bad?
As you can see, every municipality, so about 35 in Miami-Dade County are listed here. So let's go to Miami Beach, Miami Beach. So it tells you already a couple data points here, but when you do view detail, you see the map of Miami Beach. And then you see some basic information on Miami Beach as the first tab. There's a whole set of tabs I'll go over in a minute. So the first one is a basic overview, things you would expect, population, age distribution, could be very helpful depending who your customer base is, population growth, education attainment, again, all depending on what your target audience is. If the first thing you need to understand is what is your target audience and where can I find it so that you know you can market your product or service to the right group. Labor force, both from a potential source of folks that can work in your business, as well as people that might need your services. Types of occupations. Breakdown, what kind of jobs? Is it blue collar, white collar? Number of businesses. And then breakdown word by top industry. So to be expected that accommodations is one of the larger ones. Miami Beach. This is a side note. When you look at the actual breakdown in the business community by size of labor force, or how many people are working in that particular industry, hospital and leisure is not the largest industry. It's about 13-12%, actually now probably closer to 10% of our labor force. The other 90% works in something else. So that means that there's a lot of opportunities for you as a small business, because there's a lot of industries out there that are very successful, that are growing, whether it's trade logistics, professional service in general, healthcare, tech, etc. So the image that we have, that when we talk to companies about, oh, the only thing we do is tourism here, is not the case. And most of you from the introductions already indicated you're working in different industries, not just tourism. But in the case of Miami Beach, that's a very strong component. But I also know that Miami Beach is looking at diversifying.
You're trying very hard to diversify.
Because you don't want to be dependent, as we learned the hard way, on one industry as a community. And it's not only Miami Beach, there's all of us in Miami-Dade County, South Florida. So, and that's why I'm happy Vanessa's on, because that's part of what we do as organizations. How do we diversify
the industries? Yeah,
the industries. So there's a lot of basic information. This you break down by size of companies.
Pardon me, sir, may I ask a question?
Absolutely.
How do you look at the different industries to see if there are jobs or people in our industry?
I will get there. I'll get there.
That's not there yet. Okay, thank you.
So if you look at the tabs above here, labor force, occupational data, there's here on business, that has a lot more detail. There's your community overview, just to get a sense of what to expect. So if you are looking at Miami Beach and you say, I'm interested in agriculture, Miami Beach is probably not the right location. And so that's why I want to make sure that you think through a data set and the questions you ask. The most important thing in any particular analysis research is, what question do you want to answer? There's plenty of data out there. You'll see once you play with this data set, for example, you can be overwhelmed with data. That's why asking the right question is so crucial, because that determines where you're going to look for the data, which pieces here, for example, you're going to focus on. So we'll get there. The last piece here, I think it's one of the last pieces, is a breakdown.
Company size.
Company size. And what you see here is not uncommon. And we talk about Miami being a place of small businesses. which is great. So is every other community. I looked at the data on Florida level, on US level. This is for most communities. To me, and I think that's why Danilo's work is so important, and the work we do as organizations, including the ones on the call right now, is how do we move people from 1 to 4 into 5 to 9 to 10 to 19? How do we scale? Because that makes us much more resilient as small businesses. If we're a little bit larger, most likely the pay will be a little higher, and there's been a lot of data done on it. So how do we make sure that we continue to grow this segment from a startup, but then how do we move companies into these here? How do we scale them? That's crucial. But again, this is not uncommon. This is not uncommon from a breakdown in any other place in the country. Now, we're a little bit higher than the national average, proportionally. So we have more micro businesses than the national level, but again, it's not that different. So this is your overview. One of the big ones that probably you will look at, to me, is demographics. So let's go to demographics. Here we go. And this is a lot more detailed than you saw in the community one. That was just an overview. Here you can find all the same stuff again. What makes this very helpful from a planning point of view is this here.
You're projecting.
So this is 26, so 2021, and then 2026.
Oh, we're getting smaller.
And so so this is data. That is a starting point for an analysis. So, and you work, Vanessa, working for the city, you might know there's a whole host of condos being built, if that's the case. That activity is not reflected in this number because the projection is based on historical data. So when you look at any of this information here or any other data set about your community, about your industry, you still need to understand what's happening locally. Because you can do the same thing for downtown, for example, City of Miami in the downtown area, Brickell and downtown, and the same thing, it might not reflect what we know is happening because more condos are being built. Same thing, other communities around this county where we know new houses are being built, etc. So this is a starting point for you to understand what's happening in the environment around you. There's not, well, because the data says we're dropping population, it's a given. No. The other part we've seen some slowdown in population growth for Miami-Dade County because of COVID. A lot of people left. People couldn't come from international locations to migrate here, which was a big part of our growth. So you need to understand the environment you're working in and the industry you work in, using this data as a starting point. So that's why the 21 and 26 can be very helpful because it helps tell the story, but not the full story. So
yeah, I think Miss Maria has a question.
Okay.
Maria, please.
Hi, and maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I'm wondering if this this allows for us to, instead of starting with a location like Miami Beach, if this would allow a business that has already kind of designed its target market, so individuals with families, children under 5, with spendable income of 50,000 plus, who whatever, look a certain way. If we can start, if this allows us to start with that data and then inform us on what location we moved into.
This is geography based, unfortunately. So to reverse the question is not possible. It means that you need to, again, use your logic. Okay, where do I know that there's some growth or where certain income levels might live? And then you pick the city and go, okay, am I correct or not? Unfortunately, this is not, it is somewhat static compared to census data is a little more dynamic, but it doesn't have the clean flow here. Census data can be a lot trickier to navigate those tables. Even I get stuck once in a while when I'm trying to search for a certain data set. So unfortunately, you need to reverse the questions. Okay, I know the stuff happening in Miami Beach. Let me look at the data. If what I think is happening is actually the case, understand the marketplace.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Maria. And Miss Sardebra, I think, has her hand raised.
Oh,
Sardebra?
yes. Thank you, Danilo. Okay, now I can see where when you started out, you were talking about commercial real estate. And I can see where this would help me as far as financial services. However, I'm working with a small group of minority business owners. These are younger people. And we're trying to keep them off the streets and showing them a different way. So a lot of them are into creative things like recording studios, setting up production studios, art, trying to set up like an art gallery, things like that. But because a lot of them are in the music industry, and it's really hard for them to find commercial, a commercial real estate, someplace where they can advance their business to a higher level by, setting up a really nice studio. So would this program you have, would it help them to find some place, because they are up against the reputation of a lot of artists, especially when they go to Miami Beach and they act out. And so it's really hard for them to find commercial real estate, and they're looking for some place so they can say, this is my studio, you can come here. So they don't really need to know who's in the area. They just need to find a place. Would your program help them?
The property search I showed you when I opened up the program is a good starting point. I still strongly suggest, if they know where they want to be, in what geography, particular city, to work with a real estate broker. But the property search is a good starting point to get a sense if there's any availability. And we know that, for example, on the commercial industrial side, the market has been very tight because we started to buy stuff online that needs to be stored somewhere. So industrial space, warehouse space has become very tight. So this is a good starting point. So I would suggest you use the property search piece. There too, it's very intuitive to go through what you need. But again, afterwards, definitely work with a broker.
Thank you.
The property is much better. They have access to CoStar, which is a similar type setup, but it's something they purchase, the realtors. So they have a lot more tools to find a particular site based on the criteria that those folks are looking for.
Sorry, Deborah, and this is very powerful and easy to understand once you start playing with it, Jap. So please continue.
Sure. So
awesome.
I don't want to go through each in too much detail because we're limited in time, but again, your usual questions about ethnic and race distribution, household income, very important. Again, this is an important one from a disposable income perspective. And again, especially if we look at growth, is there potentially here, if you're looking at a particular income level, is that growing over the next 5 years? So those are some of the important ones you might want to look at as you start thinking about expanding your business from a geography point of view, from a product or service point of view. Is there a marketplace that can afford or is interested in my product or service? Housing, depending on what your interests are. Degrees, so there's a lot of demographic data in this piece. The other interesting one, I'm flip-flopping a little bit because I want to make sure I spend some time on the ones that I think are most useful for this audience. Consumer expenditures. I often get the question about buying behavior. And that is very expensive data, not easy to come by because most organizations and companies keep that very close to the vest because that's what they live off, understanding what the clients look like. So when you fill out surveys by those companies, that data doesn't go anywhere. They track everything you do, especially now online. It's a lot easier from a e-commerce. They know exactly when you buy it, how much, how often. And so consumer data can be very difficult, but this is a good starting point. Here too, 26 is again a projection. Might not be perfect, but it tells at least part of the story of what to expect. And so not every item or type of consumer product or service is in here, but it might apply to some of you. Apparel, entertainment, education, food and beverage, gifts of all kinds. Or pay and housing, services, personal care. So this might be an interesting one for the two who just opened up the new space with the beauty program.
Yes, yes. For Cam and Ann.
Yeah, does it go up? Does it go down?
Very nice. This data is refreshed from industry surveys.
No, this is done on from a variety of sources, but it is updated when it's available. So it's not us, which is great because I don't have to find all this stuff. So it is done automatically. So if it's an annual data set, it's automatically updated. Some of the other stuff is done quarterly. So it's updated. And so the latest, now it might not be up to date as today because some data has a delay. Some data is a quarter delay or a half a year delay, but it's the closest to what you can find anywhere. Transportation.
Excellent market research tool.
Healthcare, so a lot of different subsets of products and services, retail.
Lots of detail in here. Awesome.
And then another big one that is very helpful from both if your clients are businesses that you sell to or competitors, so either B2B, the demographics here, what I showed you is more B2C, business to consumer, but if it's business to business, or who else is out there within your same industry, this business tab here is very helpful. Because it's broken down by the big categories that you see here. And these are standard breakdowns. But it gives you the total number of businesses, percentage of the total, their sales, employees. So this is big buckets here of information. But if we say, okay, apparently there's 60 manufacturers in Miami Beach, who knew? Let me see. And it's particularly for 60 in chemical fuel.
Wow.
Apparently commercial group, I assume there's printing companies. There's a pharmaceutical company, not sure to do manufacturers. Sometimes with data, it might be classified as a manufacturer, but the office is just an office, not actually manufacturing. Which again tells you that you then need to go into more detail. So if I say here, it says a pharmaceutical manufacturer, let's see who it is. This is who it is. Mullers come away. Couldn't tell you, but they do $6 million in revenue. They have 10 employees. But if we go to a little broader one, for example, food and food services, there's one here. Now you see the breakdown here.
Very nice.
Go to limited service restaurants, whatever they might be. So now you see if you're in the same category as a business, what your competitors are doing, who your competitors are, and what they're doing from a revenue point of view. So what it also tells you with the number of employees, whether or not you can be successful and what your revenue streams need to be in order to be successful. Now, you might be able to figure out that you need half of the revenue to be successful, but there's a benchmark, at least as a starting point, is okay, it seems that they are doing between 100 and 150,000 a year in revenue. So I need to figure out how I, with a handful of people, 3 to 4 people, can generate $100 to $150 in revenue every year. Because apparently that seems to be what these competitors are doing. Again, it's all about what questions you ask. The data is there somewhere, but if you ask the right questions, suddenly things have become a lot clearer. So if you ask, I'm setting up my revenue projections. I have no clue. I have some sense. here you get at least a partial answer. Now, you know, as a business, what your costs are and how you're going to sell your product or service, but there's at least a starting point to get some reality with the data you're looking for. Jeremy?
Yeah, I was asking, I wanted to ask for me as a wellness provider, I provide a service that's mostly remote. For me, what type of questions should I be asking? What are maybe like 1 or 2, 3 questions that I should ask when I get to the site?
Well, one, remote being remote, you still focus on Miami-Dade County as a client base?
So lately, I'm transitioning to B2B. So I've been working with small organizations and small businesses and providing personal development for their staff or workshops for their staff that provides team building or work-life balance or productivity habits for the staff. So what would be my focus in communities like this? Like, what type of questions should I generate for myself when I'm on this site?
Well, Michael can correct me if I'm wrong, but the first thing you need to figure out is who's your ideal target market? Who's your ideal customer? Is it business between 5 and 10 employees? Is it between 10 and 25? Because they need to have enough of a employment size that is worth the effort. If you do it for 2 people, it might be a lot of work compared to the same amount of work to put something together for a company that has 25 people, where you can charge more money. So you need to think about, okay, what is the sweet spot in size? And then you can say, okay, I want between 10 and 25. And it tells me if I focus on, because I know there's a lot of stress in the accommodations and food service business, there's 238 companies on Miami Beach that have between 10 and 25 employees. So that's how you need to think about, okay, what's my ideal customer? And then what information can I find out about them of how many are there? So here it shows you do a range and it tells you the 235 in this particular industry. Or if you focus on banking folks, there's 32. Now there might be branches. I'm not sure when you pull it down. Construction could be another stressful one that need wellness. It's 11 companies that have between 10 and 25 businesses, employees in Miami Beach.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's definitely
Jeremy,
my focus. That's beautiful. I like it.
Jeremy, the other thing is you already have data because you already have customers that you're serving. And if that relationship has been good and profitable for you, you can use that as the basis of doing a search here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Hey, Yap, we have about 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to keep on this side or do you want to also look at Biz Help?
I prefer this one. I think this one is where a lot of the data is that would be helpful. And I think I hit most of the major ones. Consumer expenditure, wages, it could be very helpful from building a financials. If you're planning to hire people to get a sense of what are the wages. This is on Miami, sorry, this is on South Florida level. They changed it. There's no longer on Miami-Dade. This is South Florida level, partly because employees travel from Broward into Miami-Dade, from Palm Beach and Miami into Broward, even Miami-Dade. So the data here is on South Florida. Having tracked this over the last 20 plus years, those numbers gotten close to the same anyway. When you pay somebody in Broward is close to those. But this can be helpful again when you build out your business plan for expansion. Or you say, well, I need to hire somebody. What can I expect? So there's a good source here, depending on what your needs are, to find out what the occupations are. If you need a computer person, you can see all the different computer occupations with their individual average and median. So 50% gets below $18 in this case, and another 50% above 18. But the average is about 25. So this tells you the average of what you can expect. If you had to hire somebody, you can build in your budget for it based on some reality numbers here. Again, this is data. Understand that we have shortages of people depending on the industry. It might be a little more than you see here, but again, it's a starting point. And that's what I'm trying to get across. This is a good starting point to really understand what's happening in the environment you're in, but then you need to know your industry, your community, what is happening in your community. Occupational data can be very helpful too. The same, but then annual wage for a whole host of occupations. The last thing, big one I want to show you, and hopefully I'll be able to do this. So we used to have a button on here that gets you to clear everything. So bear with me for a second. Let me do something quickly. Hopefully you can see
Love that
it.
you can download PDFs and Excel files from the
Excel
site.
is PDF, absolutely. Excel has been not very helpful. So PDF, absolutely.
Right.
Okay, so I cleared it for a second because I don't want nothing to Miami Beach, but I want to maybe interfere with what I'm trying to do right now. So same thing here again, the cities. But if you now say, well, I'm not really interested in a city because my area is North Dade. Is this here? I just focus on this area here. This is where I provide my service or product. So I need to know something about this area. So if I go to area analysis, it's a drawing tool. So I click here, and depending on what I mean, usually it doesn't come precise because you don't want to refuse a customer who's like a mile away from your area, but to get a sense, so you click here. Okay, I want to know. So somewhere in this area, I apply. And you can tell that I should stick to research and not drawing. All the stuff I showed you earlier for, in this case, Miami Beach, you get for this area here. So this whole area, and it's pretty far south. I'm northern part of the county, which makes sense because we're about 2.8 million people to begin with. So 1 million people live in this northern central area of Miami-Dade County. So everything I showed you with demographics and consumer expenditures and the businesses, the same data sets, and now for this geography. So now you can look at the world a little differently, not just the city or the county overall, but now you can say, okay, I'm interested in this area. You can do the same thing with a pinpoint by address, for example. If you have a physical location, you plop in the address, and then suddenly you get a 1 mile radius, a 5 mile radius. But this is one I've used often, and you can just create your own little geography and get the same data sets. The only ones that are not like the cities in the county is your wages and some of your talent data. I didn't show you yet, but that is not an interesting one that I use constantly, because one of the big questions we get from companies when they are looking at Miami is the talent question. So this tells me for South Florida, and you can play a little with the size, is how many students are graduating every year in health profession related programs. So nurses, physician assistants, etc. So this is something we use. We get a question. I usually run it for South Florida because, again, South Florida is the marketplace that we pull from, but it's a talent one that could be helpful too. And some of the institutions that are listed here. And then the last one I want to show you, because we're running out of time in a minute, is layers. So this can be helpful as well, depending on what you do. This is something to play with. But there might be some layers of where the education institutions are. For example, college universities. They're already showing up here, which is the question I asked, but I guess it's a little slow. It should pop up the. It shows up. Here we go. For some reason, the education one didn't pop up, but it shows the airport here, which we know where it's at. So there's nothing but bus stops. And this is all stuff that came from Miami-Dade County. Oh, I'm sorry. This one, for some of the stuff, to get detailed, you need
So
to.
you have to zoom in.
That's why. So that's
Yeah.
why there's all your bus stops. So a lot of things that we have in the layers came from Miami-Dade County and the work we've done with them. Again, that makes this piece somewhat unique compared to other communities because we work very closely with the IT folks to get this done.
The layers piece, Jap, is countywide here, right? It's not in the area you selected.
No, because you need to zoom in and then you can pick the area.
I see. You can just keep zooming in your area and see
Yeah,
what.
so if you know,
what's there.
if the bus was down south, for example,
Mhm.
Homestead area, you know, these are, and it's obvious because it's the busway here and then going to the different neighborhoods. So that's another way of looking at data. Again, I strongly suggest to spend some time with this because it's can be very helpful understanding the same thing with labor force. I mean, I showed you pretty much all of them here.
Very powerful. I want to just do one last call for questions or comments. Anybody want to chime in real quick on what you saw here today?
Danilo, is there a website we can go to for this, or should we just put in Beacon Council and then go
No.
to the directory?
I just put it in the
Jap just put it in the chat box.
Okay, thank you.
So it's Miami-Dade-Sites.com. Miami-Dade, SITES.com. And anybody else have any questions? Perfect. Thank you so much. Yep. Any last what else? How would you want to wrap this up for us? And you know, January is the first month of the year. We're probably looking at our business plans. Just saw a powerful business planning tool. Anything you wanted to add, Jap?
To me, and you guys are as a group already ahead of the game because you're on this call. Take advantage of the resources. We have a little bit of what's out there. And again, Daniela from our office, hopefully she'll be on one of the future ones. But you have a couple already here on the call. Take advantage of it. And I haven't figured out if I'm lazy or smart, but if somebody else has the answer, I go find it and ask somebody else. No sense is finding out the hard way. If somebody has information on a business plan, how to, doesn't mean they do it for you. And that's why I'm telling you, this is what you need to do, but they can help you with business plans or getting you ready for any capital needs. Take advantage. Same thing with cities. Vanessa is sitting on a lot of stuff too at the city. The chambers of commerce can be resources. Take advantage of the resources out there. That to me is the smartest thing you do at the beginning of the year. Figure out who the resources are. And I know you have had a lot of people already on over the last several months. I know you had Althea on a couple of weeks ago. Those are all resources. That's what we do for a living.
Yeah, and I think Jeremy had one last comment or question. Jeremy?
Yes, I wanted to know, I don't know if Joab provided his email, but I really see this as an amazing resource. And this is one of the things that I wanted to focus on, what my, like actually getting myself visible for my target audience. And I feel like this is a good opportunity. So I wanted to know, yes, thank you so much. If I can coordinate with you or Danilo outside here so we can make sure that I take full advantage of this resource right here.
And again, that's why you need to talk to chambers of commerce, especially if you're looking at small, mid-sized businesses. Start networking, get involved with, and again, with the chambers of commerce, any organization for that matter, get involved. Get involved with the committee they might have. I mean, it's a little harder now with COVID and has been from a physical interaction, but we're starting to go back to at least some get-togethers in a safe manner. Maybe not this month, but hopefully next month and beyond. But there's a lot of organizations that focus on small businesses, mid-sized businesses in this community. Miami Beach is very active with, I mean, Jerry Livin with the Miami Beach Chamber is very active with all kinds of stuff. Get involved.
Thank you so much,
Thank you, I will.
Jeremy. Yap, let's give Yap a big round of applause, guys, for this amazing information. I mean, you guys, like he said, you're ahead of the game because you're in the morning huddle, you're connected, you got access to the resources. Okay. So that's the value of this call. Yap, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And this is part of the Mayor Danilo Levin Cava's Strive 305 initiative to support our small business owners. And so please stay tuned. Join us next Friday. We have the Miami Bayside Foundation sharing the great work they're doing to help you. And like Yap said, it's all about taking advantage of those resources. You need a team around you to be successful. So with that said, give yourselves a big round of applause and we'll do it again next Friday.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
So glad I found this group.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day and Happy New Year again.
Well,
And again,
it's-
congratulations.